All states are captured. That's why when I said I don't buy this notion that there was this commission, the Judicial Commission of Inquiry on State Capture, I didn't buy that notion because I think for me, and quite honestly, I think it was the biggest judicial sham in post-apartheid South Africa. A structure that was an abuse of people's trust in the judicial system, where you actually have a platform of what I call grand scapegoating of one faction by another in the pretense that you are dealing with corruption when you are pursuing one faction. And so all states are captured, by the way. There's nothing new about the fact that a state is captured by a particular group. It's whether that group wants to do good for the people is another matter. But what happens in states is that it gets captured by tiny minorities that want to perpetuate exclusion of the majority. If a state is captured by its people to serve them, to liberate them, that capture of the state to pursue the good of the people is not bad state capture. There is no state that is unlinked to a particular agenda. What you must analyze is what agenda is it captured by? Is it an agenda to serve a minority, particular race group, or to serve genuinely the liberation of the majority, if not all its people?
And you represented the former president Jacob Zuma in the State Capture Commission of Inquiry chaired by Chief Justice Raymond Zondo. You described it as a sham of judiciary. When you were representing the former president, what are some of the loopholes that you were able to pick up from the setup of this state capture?
Well, first of all, I found that even the notion of state capture, you will recall that the very first witnesses that were called were some professors from the US who came to agree that there's something called state capture, something they've not done in their own country. Did South Africa ever call someone who holds a different view, an academic who has a different view on the notion? No, that judicial commission called 2 or 3 professors, I don't remember, who came to agree.
Yeah.
And so for me, when you want to find the truth intellectually about something, truly get 2 opposing intellectual viewpoints and see which one survives. What did we do? We called 2 professors, both of whom were coming to tell us as South Africans that state capture is a concept that exists and that South Africa was there. But did we call anybody else to counter them? No. And who else did we call after that? Our witnesses that were handpicked to pursue a particular narrative. And were they cross-examined by anybody?
Yeah.
Not much. So I just found that it was not a very honestly handled. It was a very important commission to have, to look at what has happened to our state since democracy and before. But I think it was a disservice to post-apartheid South Africa to have a sham like that and call it an investigation into what is wrong. Corruption is endemic in our society and it requires to be tackled with fairness and with justice. And I got that the loophole was at a philosophical level. The whole thing was designed not to find everyone that was corrupt.
Yeah.
I agree with Advocate Sikhakhane about the fact that all states are captured. But here is my perception or my view. I believe that there are few states that are captured for a good agenda, or states that have good agenda for their own people. And again, at the same time, there are few states that have good agenda for other states. So it's all about themselves. So these people are just selfish to care about their own people or to care about other countries. Because right now, as we speak, we have those guys or those countries or those states who are buying certain people so that those people can talk good about them. Because right now, we have many people who are preaching the gospel like this state is good. These people are good. They will take care of you. These people have a good education system. So as Africans, you have to adopt their education system and so forth and so forth. And but at the end of the day, when you go deep into all these things, then you find out that these guys are not good at all. But here is the thing. Most of these states or most of these guys have money. They have finance. And they put their finance in a form of investment on multiple institutions and multiple individuals. That is why even media by itself is captured by these guys. Why? Because these guys have money. They are good when it comes to paying, so that these media people or other institutions can preach this gospel like these guys are good. They have good plans for you, plans to prosper you, plans not to destroy you, but plans for your well-being. That is why many people are so interested in adopting whatever they get from these other states, because these other states have manipulated many people, especially Africans. They even told Africans not to associate with certain countries because those guys are not good at all. Their religion is not good. They act like this. They behave like this. They are not good. When in reality, the very same guys are the ones who are more corrupt. Why? Because they finance every institution so that they can have control over everything. And that's bad. In other words, they have a bad agenda for other states. So, but they use money. They use money. Here in Africa, they use us. They use other Africans to say, you know what? We can give you this amount of money. We can buy you this car. We can buy you this house. As long as you can preach this gospel that we are good. In other words, this gospel of like, these guys have good plans for you. Plans to prosper you. Plan like to do what? To do good for you. In other words, plans for your well-being. Then as a result, we end up captured. So when you put this in the context of what is happening here in South Africa, you'll realize that 1994 was a state capture. 1994 was a government capture. Why? Because there was an agenda to do what? To exclude certain people when it comes to what? When it comes to economy. So people became happy to say, you know what? We can share a bank with other people. We can share bathrooms with other people. In other words, we can stand on the same queue with other people. They became happy and they thought that was a freedom. And they were like, now we can go to the very same schools with other people. And they thought everything was okay and everything was fine. This is what people thought freedom is. Freedom is not what you think, because when you are free, you have to be free in all angles. In other words, you have to be free economically, you have to be free socially, in terms of safety, in terms of everything. In other words, you have to be free. But many people think like to share a bathroom with other people, then you are free. That's not free. That's not freedom. Freedom is economy. That is why up to today, this agenda is being continued. Why? Because they have money. In other words, if you have money, then you can buy someone like me so that I can use this platform to preach the gospel that these guys have good plans to prosper us. When in reality, there's no good plan at all. That is why right now in Africa, we have a problem of wars, conflicts in DRC, many countries. Burkina Faso, people are trying to like, let's remove this guy, using different tactics and so forth and so forth. Why? Is this thing of like, we have to buy these people. We have to buy these people so that they can preach a good gospel about us, so that they can distance themselves from certain people. For an example, when someone wants to control you, when someone wants to manipulate you, they will tell you that you should stay away from your brother. They might tell you that you have to be careful of your mother, you have to be careful of your father, you have to be careful of those people who love you, those people who care about you. Why? Because the moment those people are far from you, the moment you have distanced yourself from those people, then they'll have an opportunity to do what? They'll have an opportunity to control you and to manipulate you. So these guys are not far from what many pastors are doing, because even in churches, people are captured. In many churches, people are captured because you have those pastors who are like, God is good all the time, but when in reality their aim is to keep you poor, when in reality their aim is to keep you addicted to their system. I agree with Advocate Sikhakhane that all states are captured, but the problem is that it's only few people who have good spirit to take care of the majority.